Did you ever play SimCity? No, not that one, this one. The one that was released back in 2013. The one that people call SimCity 2013 or even SimCity 5. If you're like me, you played this game at launch, or at least attempted to, and were left very disappointed. This game was plagued with many issues, none worse than the requirement for a perpetual internet connection. Electronic Arts, in its infinite wisdom, believed it wise to require perpetually online play as a form of DRM to prevent piracy. However, they didn't invest in enough server capacity to handle all the requests to play on day one, and most people saw this. I pre-ordered the game and vividly remember all these server issues, not being able to get in for a few days. And then once I was able to get in, I lost connection to the server and lost all of my city's progress due to the cloud-only saves. In fact, the DRM was so bad that I think this might be the only game that I've ever cracked that I own simply to remove the DRM. And I know that I wasn't alone. Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. Oh, and there were bugs. Gosh, were there so many bugs. But for most people, that wasn't even the worst of it. The worst bit was the city sizes. They were tiny and very constraining. They were more akin to the size of small towns or neighborhoods in large cities. I dug up this old Imperial Jedi video where he tries to build an interchange in one of the map tiles. Looks like you get to either have an interchange or a city, since an interchange takes up most of the map. And this game was a successor to one of the best city management simulators ever, SimCity 4. I've already revisited that game a bit ago, which I'll link to in the video description, but the gist is that you have the ability to create cities of a variety of sizes that are all interconnected with one another. You could create a small town on a small map, or a sprawling city on a large map, create the countryside if you want on an adjacent tile, or create cities with specializations, such as one that's completely industrial, or another that is based around a single utility. It was beautiful and customizable and moddable and challenging, and heck, there are still people playing it right now as I write this script, 20 years later, a true testament to what a fantastic game it is. There are still modders working on improving this game to this day because some people still view it to be the best city builder ever. But I digress. All of these problems sap the joy out of the game for many people, myself included, and caused many people to abandon ship quickly and move on to Cities Skylines after it was released. Fast forward 10 years, and history has repeated itself, but this time, Cities Skylines is the game with all the issues. The launch was troubled to say the least, and the developers appear to be frantically working behind the scenes on fixes. And that got me thinking, whatever happened to SimCity after I abandoned it? Did it get better? Did it get patched? Interestingly enough, it did. SimCity received 23 patches in its first year and 25 in total. Maxis issued a new patch every other day after launch before moving to one a week, and after that settling into a monthly cadence. And the patches were substantive and genuinely improved the game, fixing bugs, improving performance, adding assets, and even removing that stupid online-only requirement and allowing for transfer of online-only regions to single-player mode. And along with those updates came branded content and a DLC, the former of which was a bit tone-deaf and the later of which was genuinely innovative, interesting, and beautiful. And all of that makes me want to give the game a shot today, in 2024. How much did it really improve? How does it hold up today? And how many ideas have made their way into newer city builders, such as Cities Skylines 2? Let's fire it up and give it a go. And here we are in SimCity. It feels weird to be back here. What I think we're going to do today is build to a population of about 5,000. That said, it's been a little bit of a journey to get here, and I want to explain how I was able to get this installed on my machine. So back in the day, regardless of whether you purchased it digitally or a physical copy like this one that I have right here, you had to install Origin. In fact, this physical copy of the game comes with both a DVD-ROM and an Origin code. You're getting Origin either way. Well, Origin is discontinued now, at least on the PC. If you have a Mac, you still have to download Origin to play this game. But on the PC, the EA app has replaced Origin, so I had to install that, and I had direct access to my game, so not a problem there. In fact, I had access to the game twice, because I'm a Game Pass PC subscriber, and if you are a subscriber to Game Pass PC, you have access to the complete version of SimCity. So, little thing there if you want to check it out. So with that, I'm excited to jump into the game, but I'm noticing one thing right off the bat. It wants us to load into the single player game. This is the mode that was added after a year. So I want to know if multiplayer still works. And it does. We have a connection to a North American East Coast server. So cool to see that that's still an option. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to play single player because I don't want to deal with servers or people deciding to jump into my region and destroy it because they can. So we've got a number of regions available to us, and you can see that we've got some pretty basic, looks like temperate regions, some mountainous regions, and jungles. So if you want to build a jungle city, you can do that, and deserts. So we've got a lot of different options available to us. And honestly, I think the desert sounds really fun, so why don't we start with that? And I do want to point out one thing though. We've got a limited number of cities. There is a great works location where you could have like a power plant or something like that, or a factory. And then there are all these highways that just exist and you can't do anything about them. You get to pick these little squares, and that is probably most people's biggest complaint about this game. You just don't have a lot of building space, which is really frustrating. So I think we'll go for something like this. Actually, I'm gonna go for this one. Just a boatload of resources here, and there aren't existing transportation networks dividing the tile in half. That's a complaint I have about many of the maps in this game. And here we are. The one thing that's interesting is the camera, like the perspective shift. Don't know how I feel about that. It's a little weird. I also don't understand. We've got this little tiny area. This is the big complaint of the game. Look at this. Miniature. We've got 2 interchanges and we can't get rid of either of them. Like, I can't get rid of that. It just is what it is. I can see already. Got a whole bunch of different roadway options available to me, and I think I can do whatever I want. So the low density dirt road is 2 simoleons, and the big one is 30. So 15 times the price, but this supports high density. And I forgot about that. So the road dictates the type of buildings that you can have. I don't know that I love that design choice, but at least I understand it. So I think we'll start out with some dirt roads, maybe just 1. So I can see the gridding system here, or the guidelines, and I love it. And here's a weird thing. Look at this. I clip on and it looks crazy, but then I pull a little bit further and it looks good. So I guess we'll do that. That to me seems like a bug. And then I want to loop this. Let's loop it around a couple of times. And look at the guideline it's giving you. Like, this is a solid way of doing this, in my opinion. The other thing that we can do is we've got this square roads tool. And I want to say that this is kind of like the grid tool in Cities Skylines, but potentially a little bit better, because I can completely set this. And if I hold down shift, I can kind of choose the size. The thing that stinks is there's no unit measurement. It's money, 100% money. So that makes being precise difficult, even if the tool is inherently more precise. We've also got curvy roads, circle roads. Okay, there we go. You can make circles. I'll do the curvy road tool. I feel like I have to. So let's see how this works. Okay, you could just draw a curvy road. It actually works okay. It's kind of ugly. Now I want to delete this thing, and if I recall correctly, yeah. This tool was 100% lifted and brought into Cities Skylines 2. And honestly, good for them. It's a great tool. This is the way deleting should always be in a city builder. So now I want to draw some diagonals from here. I think if I hold down shift, oh, that's good. That's really good. Now I don't know how I got my guidelines gone. So I can't mirror this on the other side, and there are no nodes. So I guess I could do something like that and then go over here and do it again. And I like to go, cannot have more than 4 roads at an intersection. This would be 3. Wait. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a ridiculous limitation. To me, that makes no sense, but it is what it is. So I guess we are going to roll with it. Oh, and look at this. It's now snapping all crazy like. I don't know why it's... What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't understand what it's doing. It's not making any sense. Oh, did you see that? Now I have a guideline. And I guess this is a hacky workaround, but it's certainly not ideal. This stinks. Let's just call a spade a spade. Honestly, I kind of dig that. That's going to work for me. That said, I've built a couple of roads and filled up half the maps. So that's a thing. And I think we'll have our town hall right here, and then maybe some commercial around that, and then some residential a ways back from there. And the sound effect grates at me, but this tool is kind of outstanding. So the sound effect that grates at me is not the ding dong. It's the stretching rubber band. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I assure you it was not. It's super irritating, but we're gonna roll with it. And then let's add some commercial here. And I think we'll front this street right here. And that's really good. I wish it were a little less jank. You can tell that there's still like a grid that it wants to work with, because it's like, look at this, it's going around the corner. It didn't like it. I don't know what's going on. We're just gonna give it a shot. We'll see how that works. And then we obviously need some industrial as well. So let's build, oh, how do we even get away? It's such a small city. There's just no place to put the industrial that's gonna be reasonable. I guess we'll send it out here. There's a rail line back here, so that could help us in the future. Mayor on a spending spree. I'm doing my best. Okay, so now we need a power plant and water and a sewage outlet pipe. So we have a wind power plant and get this overlay. It looks like it's the same everywhere. And I'm guessing that just means that no matter where I put it, yeah, we're getting 13 miles per hour for wind. So the wind is blowing this way. So reasonably, my industrial probably should have been over here. And that makes me wonder about my info views. It looks like they're right here. So it's within each of the menus, which is not super intuitive. We've got a pollution map, wind, radiation, and power. And okay, you see what's lit up? It's the road. The power is connected to the road. So that sounds familiar. It's good. That is another good one. I'm glad that they picked that up. Oh, look at this. We've actually got groundwater deposits. Again, another Cities Skylines 2 thing. And as we hover this over it, it's just like the wind. We're getting different values. So this is going to be the best spot. I really lucked out here. And it also makes me nervous about polluting that one. I don't know if we're going to need to use that. So we'll place our water tower right here. And the water pipes are built right into the road, right where they belong. I love that. The last thing that we need is sewage, and we have this outflow pipe. And if I recall correctly, they basically just launch the poop into like a pit and they just let it dry. My guess is to grab it and landfill it. So this one does stink. So I think that we probably should extend this road down here and whoa, $2,000. Ooh. Yeah, we'll add this down here. I want to make sure that the pollution's leaving the city because the direction of pollution does matter. And that again is another Cities Skylines 2 thing. So it's kind of interesting. So now I'm losing money. I'm going to try to balance this by zoning a little bit. And it didn't take long for us to move into the green and unlock the town hall. That said, I'm guessing the town hall costs money. It's free. It's free. That's excellent. I can't center it. So I've spent all this time making the perfect little layout, and because of how precise the game is, I can't center it. So this is an interesting difference between Cities Skylines and this game, is that we've got all of these different clips, so everything is very precise, but not accurate. And in Cities Skylines 2, you can almost be more accurate, but less precise, if that makes any sense, because you can really move things around a lot. So we're just going to place it here. It's fine. And one thing I want to explore is I know this game has a lot of expansions for different buildings. The town hall is the town hall. I think it levels up over time. Can't exactly recall. But the other buildings, so we have like this. If I click into here, I can edit the building. And it's like this for a ton of the buildings in the game. Everything from police department to probably the water tower, and definitely all the power plants. But I can add things like this sign, so I can label this. And it can be on the power plant itself, across the street, however you want to handle it, which is amazing. But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. Let's say I wanted to add another wind turbine. I've got all these different locations that I can choose, so I can really customize this. And if it's not good enough, I can add a road onto here. And then I can add this along the road. This is the way that a modular expansion is supposed to be for a game. So this feature is way ahead of its time. It's amazing. So we have a bit of residential demand, but I am curious, knowing that certain types of roads allow certain types of zoning, if I shouldn't expand some of the roads so that we get some higher density buildings. And the way you do it, apparently, just select the road segment and it will allow you to upgrade it. So I can upgrade to a low density street, then a medium density street. If I wanted to go further, okay, I could select one. That stinks. Just one. That's how you do it. Now, interestingly, we have vacant residences for sale. So it's not that this is being built because someone is already assigned this house. The home is being built and then they're being assigned to this. So this is an agent-based game, just like Cities Skylines 1 and 2. Now, I want to take a look at some of these models because truthfully, I do think that the visuals still hold up. I like the way these look. It's because it doesn't look real, but it doesn't look so fake that it's ridiculous. Like right here, cheap business store. Like clearly that's not the name of the store, but it does the trick. It still looks nice. There's the inside jokes, such as all the llama talk, and I like that a lot. The bagel store looks like something you could see. I think the game is beautiful. It's not realistic, but it's not trying to be. And if you strike that balance, I feel like you can come up with something that is nice. Got an ice cream shop that looks vaguely like the one in Cities Skylines. We've got gas stations. That's cool. Apparently all the gas stations. Got a gigantic chicken store, if that's what you're into, and lots of ice cream. But there we go. There's our little town. Let's make it better. More city services. First of all, we never added waste disposal, and we can't afford it, so maybe that's why. Let's pop into our budget. We can adjust the taxes. I can't remember how high I can go, but I'm going to push it, and then we can take out a bond if we really wanted to, or we could wait a couple of hours. I'm inclined not to wait. So we're going to bond. The one thing that I wish that this had, and I don't know if it does, is bonds become attractive when the interest rate is low. And you'll see your city bonding for a ton of things when the interest rate is low. And when the interest rates rise, they don't want to bond for anything. But when the interest rates are low, it can actually be more affordable over the long term to pay for a large infrastructure project with a bond than to pay for cash up front because of inflation. So it's the fact that this game puts me in that mindset, I think says a lot. Now let's make a connection between this and this little industrial area, because right now it's not exactly great. And I'm wondering, oh goodness, this tool is just terrible. I don't know why anyone would use this. We will instead hold down shift. Oh, it won't find guidelines. What? So this tool is not great because I'd like to find the midpoint here. So it looks like it's 745. So maybe I'll do something like this. It's not even going at a 90. Oh, there now it is. Kind of. It's not a 90. It's not a 90. I don't understand why it's not a 90. Oh, I'm in the curved. Okay. It's my fault. User error. So we're going to come down. This one right here is 700. So go 350. And I basically want to see if it's possible. Can I find this guideline? Meet up there. And then we'll curve in. Okay, it's super hacky, but I guess it's possible. It's not great. We've got other utilities that we need, though. Other services, police, fire, things of that nature. Let's add fire because we're not going to turn this into Verde Beach. Just kidding. Not enough money. Everything is out of reach. So I think that I'm going to let this run for a couple of minutes so that I can actually build things. I obviously have the money for this now, but I also want a police department. And we're going to have to wait. That's fine. And whoa, this has been a slow going game. And honestly, I think it might be the difference between games from a decade ago and games now. We're all constantly looking for our dopamine hit now that we've been so accustomed to TikTok and cell phone games. I love those turbines, so pretty. Said nobody. I don't see where the sewage goes, but I'm glad it goes away. I've got to look at this. I remember this. There's this graphic which shows all the poop going to the poop pipe. There's these little bits of whimsy in SimCity games, and I really missed that aspect of this game. All right, City Hall is looking for something. Mayor, we have reports of some crazy guy that calls himself Dr. Vu threatening the region. There's only one way to defeat him. Maxis Man, that's right. We have to bring him back. We need a bit bigger of a town to give him a proper home. Then maybe he will come to save the day. Well, heck yeah, I'm going to do that. That sounds awesome. So we have to have 2,500 residents, plop the Maxis Manor, and then he'll go out on patrol, and I'll get $5,000 for that. So we can do that. Let's just expand our city. So what I think I'll do is change up what we're doing here. Not that. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a handle on the jank and craziness with the road tool. And then I look at this and nothing's at a 90. Nothing makes any sense. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like this. Not only are roads expensive, but having extra roads gives you more guidelines, which makes it more challenging to do anything. So whatever, we've got a new neighborhood right here. We'll just zone this in quickly. I'm gonna leave a block right here for maybe a park, and I'm gonna place a basketball court. And I don't love this view. I wonder how I get out of this. I guess we're just in the blinding white view. There's just no way around it. Maybe this is where it came from in Cities Skylines, because this is terrible. And it's always been terrible, and I don't like it. So there we go. We've got a basketball court, and we can add on to this too. And you can see this looks like it's the land value that it's showing me. And we can add up to 15 different modules to this. They're different sizes. Why would they do that? It's a different size. They're different all around. That is terrible. So let's see. I can get rid of this road. And then let's add on to the park. And those didn't line up. I couldn't make them better. And boy, oh boy, it looks bad. It's a shame. I wish that I had like move it so I could just move the asset over, because the asset honestly looks pretty good, but they're not lining up, and that is going to just drive me crazy. Now it's interesting. One of the things that this is highlighting for me is there's kind of zoning cells, but I can't see them, and it feels good because I can't see them. I kind of like that. So I have less control, but I think the end result is better, if that makes any sense. All right, so we need a police department now, and we've got two things available to us. A French police station, that's one of the DLCs, and then we also have a normal police station. So this is 400 per hour, 30,000 simoleons, same. Well, let's go with the French one. It looks way cooler. So we'll go for that. And look at this. They're going to get rid of their shack and get a dream home. It looks like it's a coffee shop now. Not a home, but it works. I wonder if we shouldn't upgrade their roads. And it didn't seem like I was doing much. I was just trying to improve roadway hierarchy a bit and upgrading some of the dirt roads. And I immediately ran out of money, which I think is really a demonstration of what happens in this game. Your money consequences, they are extreme. So it definitely feels like you've got to be more thoughtful about your spending habits, because boy, oh boy, you can run out of money so fast. And apparently everyone ran out of money. So here we go. We've got a fire and animations. I like it. And we can actually see what each of these firemen are doing, firefighters, and who they are, which is neat. That's how you can tell it's agent-based, which is pretty cool. So now we've got our 2,500 residents that the police chief wanted. We have to plop the Maxis Manor, which means we need to find that. Now I'm wondering if, because the police chief is the one telling us about it, if it's here. It is. And it's 40 grand. I don't have that kind of money. We're going to bond to invite a superhero into our city. And now we'll build our Maxis Manor. But I feel like we've got to have a special spot for this. And look at this. We've built nothing and we're already running out of space. This is depressing, because this game has so much content. You can see it already when we go in. There's a lot going on, and I don't have any, there's no space. Now, I watched this interview where the game's designer, Ocean Quigley, I believe his name is, discussed that initially this game was supposed to unlock the regions so you could build in between the cities. And you can kind of see, like, it's all there. And I know that there are mods that enable you to jump the city boundary, but if this would have had that, geez, would have been just outstanding. Really, really disappointing. Editor Phil here, and I wanted to dive into this thought a little bit more. So first of all, I want to let you know that I'm going to be linking this interview down in the video description. It's an interview between Game Informer and Ocean Quigley, and he really dives into this project and his thoughts about the project itself, the online-only component, and yes, the city size. So let's watch a brief snippet of that, and again, if you want to check this out for yourself, a link is in the video description below.
If the sort of rollout hadn't been so calamitous, then it would have been straightforward enough to build out larger cities, for example. And the eventual vision was that the whole region, the whole vast, 32 kilometer by 32 kilometer region would be one one potential city, and you could build anywhere in it.
And that was the plan post-launch, or that was the plan initially?
That sort of before we launched, my design intent there was to expand the cities until they eventually abutted each other.
Gotcha.
And then you just have a huge connected landscape to build in. But after the launch, it was like, well, maybe not.
I don't think it's gonna be possible. So it's just the tech just couldn't live up to the dreams.
Basically, it was the back-end server stuff. The simulation engine with more powerful computers and more memory would have let us scale eventually to larger and larger cities until eventually the whole region could be one vast city. And that was sort of the initial design intent behind it, but that never to be.
And that was a huge bummer, but let's get back to the video and continue to explore SimCity. We'll place our Maxis Manor way over here, because if you're a superhero, of course, you want to live on the outskirts of the mini town. So the Maxis Man can save injured people for $500. So this is not a charity. I don't know how to send on patrol. I guess we'll do this. That was it. So to get $5,000, I had to spend $40,500, and now $900 an hour. I kind of feel like the police chief baited me into something I shouldn't have done. Maybe to balance it out, we need to build a casino. So under city specializations, there are a bunch of different things that we can build. So we can build a mine, we can build oil, trading posts, electronics, factories, different cultural amenities, including things like stadiums and different attractions, and something that I think is really unique to this game, you can build houses of worship, which I think are really interesting. First of all, there's a good diversity here. They're free. But what I like about this is that oftentimes churches, mosques, synagogues, they're all landmarks in the community that help people navigate around them. They demonstrate the unique architectural character of a place. So I want to have a couple of these and we'll just see what they do. Okay, what I will do, we'll add this road right here. And then let me see the most interesting one. We'll go with the modern temple and we'll place that right there. Now, what I think is cool about that is that you could come through here and that's what you see. That road is not straight. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have seen that. Why? It looks straight. Why is it not straight? Oh my goodness. Serenity now. It's going to be okay. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just a game. Oh, everyone likes that. See, that's why you place this thing. So I wanted gambling because we're in the desert. And what else are you going to do to pay for the Maxis Man besides have gambling? And maybe the Maxis Man will take care of the gambling problems, the problems associated with the gambling. Because if we look at this, we will get some tourists, some low wealth gamblers, we'll get some income, some medium wealth gamblers, and we'll get some crime because, of course, criminals turn up at casinos like bad pennies. So let's do it. Here it is on our dirt road, the low-end casino. We can more modular buildings. I love this. So we can add a casino marquee. So that's super cool. And I'm going to add that on our main drag over here so that as you come through here into the city, you see low-end casino. So yeah, I think we are going to add it a little bit more onto this. We will add, this comedy club will attract 1,400 low-wealth tourists per day. The lounge will attract 1,000 medium wealth. We want our city to level up, so let's attract some more medium wealth folks into the community. And now, while the casino is casinoing, we've got a couple more things we've got to add. I want to add in some schools, and we've got an elementary school. We don't have enough money for that, and the Maxis Man took all of our money, so we're going to have to wait. And I'm noticing the bus stop. I'm trying to remember how this works. I want to say that the school radius is terrible unless you place a bus stop, which is pretty reasonable. I really like that because generally, in reality, within a mile is considered walkable for an elementary school. And beyond that, the students have access to busing. So even if it's a mile and a block here, you get a bus. So we can finally afford our elementary school. So I'm going to place that right about here. And everyone loves that. But look at look at that radius. It's not even a mile. It's like you can go a block. Every other kid is not served. So we've got to add a bus stop. Costs 10 an hour, 200 simoleons, can serve 100 kids. Now, here's the interesting thing about transit generally in this game. There's no routing. It's one of the things that really bothers me about this game. Buses act like taxis in this game. So you're going to see a bus that just kind of goes to all these different stops and does the different things. And it's like that for either school buses or normal mass transit. We could also add on to this as well, get more buses. We could add some signs, because of course we should. And a flagpole. I just really like it. Makes me think so we can't detail, we can't add trees and things of that nature. But they really went all in on this modular system. So like right here, we've got our fire department. This bell, boom, right on top. We could add on more garages. So we can have more fire trucks. We could add a flag. The sign, I guess we took that spot. So we can't do that. But they did a good job with it. There's nothing more to say. It's a really cool mechanic, and I really like it. Now, knowing that the roads dictate your density, I'm wondering if there is value in upgrading all of our dirt roads now to be paved. So I think I'm going to try that. We'll upgrade all of these to be paved roads, not 2-lane, but just paved. Oh my goodness. I swear they kept the map sizes as small as they did because this is the most tedious thing I've ever done in a game. Just going through and upgrading one segment at a time. I just want to take a meteor to this entire city and start over. Thankfully, it's so small, it only really takes you 2 minutes to go through and upgrade every segment, so long as you haven't divided them up into little pieces, because that's when it starts to become more problematic. And I just clicked on this random house and people are dying all around us, probably because I forgot healthcare. So we have 6 Sims and we are doing nothing about it. Let's add that right downtown. Oh, no, I can't, because of course, not enough money. It's $20,000 like everything. Oh my goodness, we have 10 deaths per day in our little town, so we desperately need this thing. So that, I guess, will make a big difference. And okay, people seem to be happier. A lot of those, I don't know how to describe the icon. It looks smarmy, I guess. Yeah, they're gone. I guess it was probably a sick person, but right here we see a smiley face. Things are good. So I think we'll try to zone a little bit more. All of our demand came back now that we did this. And after sinking into just a little bit of zoning, I've dramatically overshot my population target. That said, there's one more thing that I really wanted to check out, and that was transit, because I wanted to kind of demonstrate how this works. So let's go ahead. We'll place our bus depot somewhere by the landfill because, you know, people don't want to live by a bus depot, even though I think that they're fine. Let's see what we have available to us. Bus stop, park and ride, which is that's actually really neat. Bus terminal, and a double-decker bus terminal. So as far as placing buses, all we do is place a bus stop and it's good enough, which is why I don't like this. So we just place one right there. All right, it's glowing in green, good enough. One right here, that neighborhood's happy. One right here, when those people move in, they've got transit. One by the casino, and then 3, cover the entire city. No, I mean, this makes no sense. If you look at it, like, where would a route go? It doesn't matter because buses act just like taxis. They're going to find someone at their origin and drop them off at their destination. So reasonably, this isn't public transit. Okay, I think it's finally starting to spawn buses. It's taken a while, but I was thinking a little bit about these tools. Because this is more on the city management and simulation side, we can take a look at things like origins and destinations to get an idea of where we should probably have bus stops. So origins are where people live, destinations are where they're going, and you want to have stops at each of those. So you can definitely get that from some of the info views here. And on that note, it's also interesting to see the average weight. That's kind of talking about bus frequency, which is something that you really think about a lot when you are planning transit routes. What's the frequency of the buses? That really is a big determinant as to whether people want to take your transit or not. So it's pretty important stuff. And on the note of the info views generally, I think that they're really well laid out. They're really clear and understandable, and they really provide the user with a lot of explanation as to what's happening with the simulation under the hood. And this is something that I really hope that Cities Skylines 2, for instance, starts to nail once some of the updates come out, because I feel like I understand how each household is doing in terms of their happiness and their bank balance. And I know that that mechanic has made its way to Cities Skylines 2, and it's not very opaque. It's very difficult to understand what's going on. I've always appreciated the way that SimCity games explain themselves and present themselves. That said, the map is really small. I have barely played. I've been playing now in real time for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and this is half the map filled. The only way that I can expand this is to delete the city and start over. That's not okay. That's not okay. Now back to the good things. I did not go into the city specializations all that much. There's a lot here. You can go and build the Omega Corporation and start to turn your city into a Blade Runner style city. Same thing with the Academy. Lots of really interesting things here. The Mega Towers, though, I want to point this out in particular. I'm obviously not going to be able to get to Mega Towers today, but here's what they look like. They just look super cool. These actually act as their own little cities. So you can add different floors to make different sorts of places. So they're just, it's a really cool concept. And I guess if you're not going to have a large map, this is a way to get a large population, which is something I'm noticing. We have a big population for a city of this size. It feels healthy, and I appreciate that. It's an agent-based game, but we still have a lot of citizens, and I think that the population numbers that we would see as a result are much, much, much better. So I just kind of want to reflect on this experience for just a moment, and this ultimately has made me feel sad. I don't think I realized how much I miss Maxis games and how much I miss SimCity. There's just a whimsy and a fun playfulness to this. It's well put together. The menus are intuitive. There's great animations, excellent sounds. To the visuals, I mean, for being a game this old, the game still holds up well, looks good, and it's fun. It's really the DRM that they had that killed this game, along with the city sizes. If you want a management game, this is it. This is a management game. And I don't really have that right now. And this kind of scratched that itch, which makes me miss it. But I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about the things that this game is missing, such as contour lines. You can't respect the topography in this game. You can't detail at all. You can't place a tree in this game, which stinks. I mean, it makes it feel old after playing Cities Skylines, just the original one. So I think that that is a big miss in this game. I'm also really not sure how this game holds up with larger cities in terms of population anyway, and in larger regions. One of the things that was mentioned in a recent stream is that this game tends to break down when there's a lot of agents. So I guess if you decide to pick this game up and give it a shot, keep that in mind. So yeah, melancholy feelings. So then I guess the final question would be, is this worth buying? And I think that if you could get it for around $10 for the complete edition, which you can find it for that price, maybe then it's worth it. I wouldn't buy it for full price from EA. They want $30 or 30 euros. That's insane. It's not worth it. And also, if you happen to have Game Pass PC, I say give it a shot. There is a lot of fun to be had here. There are just a lot of limitations. But if you go into the game understanding those limitations, you'll probably be okay with it. That's the thing. I think if people would have understood the limitations when the game was released, they might have been happier. Also, if it would have not been online only, that was a really dumb decision. But it is a good game within its limitations. That said, I feel like we've got to send our city outright. We've got disasters, and I feel like we've got to go out on a good one. So, breaking news, we've got a big lizard. It just took out the city planner. It's going nuts. And there we go. Angry big lizard taking out our city. And just another demonstration that this game doesn't take itself too seriously. I think we're gonna leave it here though. I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And if you like these dives into old games, whatever this thing is, let me know down in the comments and maybe I'll pull a few more out of the hat. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care. Bye-bye.